Welcome to Open Essentials Training Module 2. In this module, we are going to learn what EDR is, what kinds of benefits EDR has, and we're going to compare it with various security technologies. Let's start with the basic. EDR stands for Endpoint Detection and Response. It is aimed to give protection against cybersecurity attacks across various endpoint and devices. EDR investigates the entire life cycle of a threat, providing insights into what happened, how it got in, where it has been, what is doing it now, and what to do about it. Of course, we're talking about a threat. By containing the threat at the endpoint, the EDR helps eliminate the threat before it can spread around. When we look at EDR, we can break it down into three: the E, the D, and the R, of course, which is Endpoint Detection and Response. What is endpoint? Endpoint, the communication entry and exit point of organization network, are what we all call an endpoint. This refers to any device that's capable of connecting to a network. Remember, in our first module, I said anything which can take an IP address. This could be a smartphone, a laptop, a desktop, a tablet, a cloud-based system, or an IoT device. What does the D stands for? For detection. Every EDR consists of data exploration and threat hunting tool. As such, the EDR would regularly scan for signs of any unusual activity in every endpoint device. And the last but not least section is the R, the response. If the EDR discovers a potential threat, it will alert the system user immediately. This ways, users can take the appropriate procedures to reduce the risk of cyber attacks. If you remember, at Module 2, we spoke about the cost of a cyber attack in Module 1. And then we talked about the attack vectors. If those companies had a proper configured EDR, they could minimize the attacks. Why? Because EDR mainly focuses on endpoint protection and uses endpoint data as its main source. To protect the endpoint, it collects incident data, it will try to detect unusual activity, and once it detects the activity, it will trigger security alerts. A good EDR has also tools in preventing any malicious activity. This could be manually or automated via set rules. In summary, EDR technology is designed to continuously monitor and record system activities and events that take place on endpoints. EDR provides visibility to IT team so they can determine incident without otherwise would remain visible. And in the right side, you see the open EDRs that we're going to cover later, timeline when it comes to detecting wire attack. But let's talk about this later. Now, let's compare antivirus versus EDR. I get this question a lot. I use antivirus. Do I really need an EDR? Remember, we spoke about the new normal in the previous chapter. In the new normal, we have people, employees, workers working remotely. So, the traditional way of doing business has changed forever. Companies now allow remote work. And just imagine, when I was the CISO in a bank, I had to drive to the office. I had to use my swipe card, enter a secure building, use my swipe card, use a secure lift, and I was in a spatial level that not everybody had access. Use my swipe card again to enter my level. Once I was in my level, my office, I used to walk to my office, turn on my laptop, and I was automatically behind the walls, secured behind the perimeter. During pandemic, yes, I worked remotely from home. Luckily, I had a laptop which I could do so, but in some of the regions that I was a CISO, we had some endpoints, some users, they didn't have any laptops, and we had some challenges to make them ready to work remotely, because back then the digital transformation was not confirmed, was not completed. What I'm trying to say is, now anybody can work from anywhere. Here's one of the biggest dangers. Like, you could be in Starbucks and be victim as an evil twin attack, or you could be at home trying to work from your secure home, right? But here's the question. When did you last time update the firmware on your modem? Or did you ever change the password in your modem? Your Wi-Fi? Who has access into it? Those questions are usually not in control of IT security teams, such as myself, CISOs. So I cannot control remote devices, right? If I don't know what I have to protect them. Of course, there are some ways which we're going to cover later during the chapter. Alright, what is an antivirus? Antivirus is designed to detect and block malware or a virus from establishing itself on a device before it accesses the network. The user is connected. However, it has limited capabilities, and sometimes antivirus by itself cannot protect the endpoint against sophisticated threats. What does this mean? It means you need more than antivirus to protect especially your remote users. Alright, let's compare our traditional antivirus with an EDR. EDR solutions have capabilities, and antivirus is only one of those. Aside from having an antivirus tool, EDR solutions are also capable of providing monitoring tool as well as threat intelligence database. And depending on the EDR, it might have a cloud-based solution as well. Endpoint detection and response is also distinct from all the security solutions because it yields alerts to IT teams and triggers further investigation rather than simply identifying and containing a suspicious malware. Back to my example, you could be working from anywhere. If I have more than antivirus, if I have an EDR, XDR, MDR capabilities in my organization, then I should be able to protect my remote users much easier against complex attacks. So, EDR solutions have many capabilities. As I said, an antivirus is just only one of them. Which one is a wiser choice? Is it antivirus or EDR? The antivirus serves a basic purpose, such as preventing, detecting, and removing malware. However, modern day malware and cyber threats are more complex, as we just spoke about it. And EDR is giving me, as CISO or my team, a front row seat with higher endpoint visibility. It is designed to give me, where necessary, automated response to save me time. It could give me alerts to mitigate the attack faster. And all these are lifesavers because during a cyber threat, one minute is a very important time frame when it comes to it. What else? Most traditional antivirus solutions claim to block the majority of the threats. But what about the threats they miss? If you read the threat reports, you will see some of them have 96, 97%, and they proudly share those reports. Hey, we blocked 97% of the viruses. Sure. But what about that one that you miss? Having the EDR capability allows you to detect, investigate, and remediate modern threats that are advanced and persistent enough to evade traditional perimeter defenses. So, the endpoint threat detection capability is much better in an EDR. It has multiple security layers that involve attack blocking, endpoint patching. Some of them have firewall, whitelisting, blacklisting, and even next generation antivirus. All those layers are beneficial for your organization because they feed intelligence to each other to provide you with protection from all angles. Okay, how does usually EDR protect your endpoint? Of course, you must install an endpoint. You must install the agent into endpoint, and it will have a learning process. This installation could be in a form of agent or package. The agent lives on the endpoint, then it starts gathering information. It reports back to the back end. It has some signature based as well as behavior based defense, which is designed to give you much more security and control. Some EDRs have network analysis capabilities. Why? A dark endpoint, a rough access point, or blind spot is an endpoint that you don't know exists. How are you going to protect something that you don't know if it's existing? Having an EDR with a network discovery tool can help you to secure the perimeter much easier. And if you remember the earlier chapter, that one of the biggest attack practices, unfortunately, is still misconfigured systems or systems that you are not aware of. EDR has the capacity to provide proactively hunt for potential trends, and of course, you can use an MDR, XDR to give you even better protection. Where EDR reports back to your IT team, and MDR or XDR could have your third-party security provider monitoring your network, such as Xcitium. When we look at the capabilities of endpoint detection and response tools, it is detection, containment, investigation, and elimination. Let's talk all about those. Detection is where the threat is detected, and of course, via the EDR capacity. Threats upon entering the network or your endpoint should be detected, evaluated, and neutralized. It should also trigger a message, and this message should be sent to the IT teams. It has a continuous threat analysis, and it should be able to flag malicious behavior. Most of the EDR are protected, backed up with threat intelligence. Some of them has AI behind the EDR, and all this will increase the detection capabilities. Containment. Please don't mix this containment with the containment technology at Xcitium Antivirus. We're just talking about containing a virus here. An EDR must be able to contain the threat to minimize its possible malicious effect. EDR provides the capability to network isolate, prevent future encryption over the network. What we have also at Xcitium, which is not part of Open EDR yet, auto containment, and this is becoming part of advanced endpoint protection, which has EDR inbuilt, but we will talk about this later. It's out of this topic, but I just wanted to put it there so you don't mix it up. Investigation. Once a malicious file has been detected and contained, EDR should be able to investigate it. In the investigate process, sandboxing is a critical capability. Sandboxing, or in Xcitium terms, containment, can be used at the perimeter to help grant or deny access, but it can also be used effectually after the point of entry. What is elimination? As we talked about it earlier, EDR needs to be able to eliminate a threat. To do so, those questions need to be answered. Okay, where is this threat originate from? What data and application did the file interact with? Does this threat, the malware, or whatever it is, replicating itself? What is the timeline? Your EDR should be able to answer those questions to be able to even try to have a proper protection method. What else? You implement an IT security policy. An IT security EDR should be written document that contains information about the software and hardware you run to protect your network endpoints. It should also provide security guidelines for your employees, such as how to secure your BYOD devices. With all this, of course, you have to keep your end users in mind and continue training your end users, because as we also spoke earlier, end users are still one of the biggest attack vectors. If you look at EDRs, there are many vendors. You can use the free Open EDR, or you can use an EDR from Xcitium or many other vendors. But those are the two that I would highly recommend. And let's talk about, if you have a budget, you can go and use Xcitium EDR. If not, if you cannot afford EDR, or if you utilize your budget somewhere else, what can you do? You can use Open EDR. And next, we are going to talk about Open EDR. Thanks for listening. This module, next module is going to talk about, as I said, about Open EDR.